Hello dear viewers and welcome to the only single player first video look at Bevontule. This is an RPG currently seeking funding via Kickstarter and they've released a pre-alpha build for us to play with, so we thought we'd give it a poke and see what happens. So I've already played this a bit, I've learnt some skills, I've got some new equipment, so I have something to show you. And I think we'd just walk straight into the combat system and let's take a look at this now. So it's pretty standard JRPG style exploration and combat. Touch something on the overworld and you go into a fight. The combat system itself is a lot like Ark the Lad to Twilight of the Spirits on the PlayStation 2, although that came out a while ago, you may or may not have played that. So you move around freely, and the red icon here is my attack range. When an enemy comes within range, you can then launch an attack. And enemies play by the same rules. Now, what you saw there was an enemy preparing a skill. Every skill in this game has a charge time denoted by the little blue checks at the bottom of the icon. This means that Chakra, this skill which will heal in a small radius around this character, will take 1 turn to execute. If I were to put this down, it wouldn't happen immediately, it would happen in 1 turn's time, so you have to take account of when your skills are going to play out, which makes the combat quite satisfying and quite strategic. I really do quite enjoy this. So for the time being, I'm just going to go and do a normal attack. Okay, Vicious Bite. So, this spider is going to use a Vicious Bite attack on my tank character here, Apolith, I think his name is. So if I move my character out of range before that attack happens, then I'll avoid the damage from that attack completely. So we'll do that. We'll move him over here, and we'll go for this elongata plant thingy over here. And we're going to set up a skill of our own which takes 2 turns to execute. Now you can see on the top right, we have a turn order. So the drone is going to use Piercing Sting on our guy with the blindfold, and the Harvestman is going to use Vicious Bite on our tank. Now the drone is in range of their target, but the Harvestman is not. So the Harvestman is going to lose their attack when this happens. So we're going to set up Bludgeon, and we can see that Apolith is going to have his attack after the Harvestman, but before the Elongata, which is our target, can respond. Can you see how this gets quite engaging? So it's a game about queuing up a set of actions and making sure that you come out on top. Okay, now this character is immobilized, which is not helpful, but he does have a ranged attack, which takes 1 turn to charge up. And what I can then do is show you how skill chains work on the next turn. Nope, never mind that. I will show you how skill chains work soon enough. Bodom is taking a lot of damage, so let's put some healing out there. It's worth pointing out this is a pre-alpha, as we said before, so there's a lot of stuff missing, a lot of stuff that will be added during development. So this is very much a prototype. This is to show people what the game... This is to give people a taste of how the game could work out, although it's clearly not indicative of the quality of the final product. Oh, Morok is going to get it in the next turn. Bodom. So, let's take a look at our turn order here. Oh, he's still immobilized. Let's just skip that turn. That immobilized effect is really annoying. Okay. So now I can show you how a skill chain doesn't work. Nope. Okay, so let's set up a skill chain. We're going to use backstab. So, if you stack up skills, or the enemy stacks up skills, and several skills play out 1 turn after the other, it makes what's called a chain. If the same target gets hit in a chain multiple times, every successive hit will deal increased damage, and I'll show you how that works just now. So this Gut Punch ability activates on the turn in which you begin to charge it. There's no charge time. So it will happen on this turn. In the top right, you can see that Bodom has the backstab queued up for the very next turn. So this this drone is going to be attacked twice in the same chain and therefore take additional damage. So Gut Punch is quite good. It happens as soon as you use it. There's no charge time, so you can start a good chain with that. And it also reduces the enemy's resistance, which is their damage stat. So this is a really good way to start a chain because A, it's quick, and B, it reduces their defense and then allows the rest of the chain to deal additional damage. So we're going to do that now. So there's our first attack. And now, our backstab dealing quite a big bonus there. You saw there was a little exclamation point after the damage. That shows that it's the result of multiple hits in the same chain. Every additional hit makes an additional damage. Every additional hit causes an additional exclamation point to appear behind the damage number, and therefore causes an additional damage bonus. And we'll finish that fight off there. And obviously it's a JRPG style game. There's JRPG elements, Western RPG elements in here. So you can expect a lot of leveling up and experience gaining. So we'll just have a quick shifty around here, maybe a few more fights, and then we'll call it a day. I do enjoy this game. I think it definitely has potential. I'd like to see a few more things added to the combat. At the moment, there's quite a frustrating tendency for characters to just walk straight past other characters in a fight. There's no attack of opportunity or anything like that. And it makes positioning your tank quite difficult because no matter what, they can just walk straight past the tank and attack someone with less armor. Which can be pretty annoying. But it's very early days yet, and this is a good solid prototype. So, how are we going to deal with this one? Okay, that plant makes itself stronger, the spider immobilizes people, and the mushroom buffs up every other enemy. So what we can do is try and prioritize taking down the mushroom here. So let's set up a skill. We'll set up a skill chain. We can only manage 2 hits now because our skill will trigger before Apollith gets his chance, but still. Got a nice little 2-hit chain there. Let's get... not in range of doing anything. What we can then do is try and finish off that mushroom. Ah, the spider got in the way. The AI is quite clever already. I've had it get in the way of straight attacks. I've had it use AoE quite effectively as well. The AI knows what it's doing in this game. Okay. Right, that takes care of the mushroom. We're immobilized, are we? So, what we can do... Now the Harvestmen will move before then. Set up slash on that Harvestman. What we can do is set up a Valiant Charge. There we go. So now we have a slash and then a charge attack, and we'll do additional damage. Just enough to kill it off. Okay, that plant is going to fire a seed at the guy in the purple shirt here, so... Let's just keep him out of the way of everybody else. And we're still immobilized, we'll just wait that out. Okay, so now we can begin to get a 3-attack chain in, which is going to be fun. So we'll set up Bludgeon, which takes 2 turns. 2-attack chain, okay. Bludgeon and Gut Punch is always a good one. Okay, let's set up slash here. So that chain system is really quite fun to use, and you can get quite complex chains going on because enemy skills can bridge the gap between skills that you're using. So you can end up with a scenario where an enemy trying to buff another enemy gives you the time you need to set up a 3-hit chain that otherwise wouldn't be possible. It gets quite in-depth and quite involved quite quickly. So it's a combat system I really do like quite a lot. I'm hoping this game goes somewhere. I have 1 or 2 reservations. I think if they're not careful, they could end up with a very slow pace, and that might put a lot of people off. I'm finding it a bit slow to get from A to B, and obviously this is a pre-alpha, so there may well be easier versions of fast travel going in. But that's just one thing, one kind of nagging doubt I have, but, you know, it's very early days. So let's get a few more fights in. Okay, this is going to be good. Bodom being a rogue, he typically has high damage but low defense. Let's put some healing out there because Bodom takes a lot of damage. He can finish off this purple flower in this turn. Okay, I can't really. Okay, let's take care of this Elongata before it gets any bigger. What we'll do is we're going to use our healing ability to provide the link in the chain we need so that we can hit this thing twice in one go. So now you can see our order is going to be Bodom backstabbing, Marok using chakra, and Apaloth using bludgeon. But because we have 3 skills activating in a row, even though the second skill doesn't damage anyone, we'll still hit this plant 2 times in this chain and therefore deal bonus damage. And you see we have the little exclamation point there signifying that we did bonus damage in that chain. So when you get more characters to play with, more unique abilities to play with, enemies that do weird stuff, you can see how this system could get really interesting later on. And we'll just finish this off quickly. Well, as quickly as we can do anyway. Now you see I wasn't paying attention there. I used backstab and gave the plant a chance to face towards me or to the side, so I didn't deal the backstab bonus damage. That was just me not paying attention. Alright, this is a good thing to end the video on. We'll have a proper fight with the bigger beastie. Okay, now I want to take care of that mushroom fairly quickly because he can make everybody stronger, and I definitely don't want that happening with this big grey thing. So... let's try and rush that mushroom down before we do anything else. This big thing, unsurprisingly, does a lot of damage, but is quite slow. So a key element of playing against it is to move your characters around and make sure that they're not in range of its more powerful attacks. So now we can just move Bodom out the way here, and that big thing's not going to get a hit in. So now... okay, what we can do is set bludgeon up. So now on this one, we can use an enemy's skill. Ah, we've got a decision to make. If I set off a skill chain now, Bodom is going to take 2 hits and suffer bonus damage, and he could very well be outright killed by that. So, instead, I will use an item which doesn't allow the chain to take place. Let's take care of this little thing first, because it can immobilize people. If it immobilizes the healer later on, I could run into a problem. Okay, let's get out of the way of that. Poor old Bodom, he always gets it. Aha, now we should be able to set up a 3-hit chain as long as I've not moved everybody well out of range of this thing. Okay, here we go. Finally. There we go. 2 exclamation marks. Right, and that serves as a nice little introduction to this game. There are other things listed on the Kickstarter page, like crafting systems and resource gathering and that, which I haven't been able to find in this demo. It's a surprisingly large area it gives you to play around in, and then there's a basic boss fight at the end. So it's a good taste of it. It gives you a good idea of what they're aiming for. I would say that I'd like to see it be made. I think there's good potential here. I think it's a nice combat system. It's got decent animation and everything. I think it could very well be worth playing. It's a little bit on the slow side at the moment, but, who knows? Could go either way in that regard. So, yeah, that's my current opinion on this demo. So I very much hope you found that useful. If you want to take a shifty at their Kickstarter page, go ahead and do so. And if you would like to like this video and subscribe to the Only Single Player YouTube channel, you'd be very welcome to do that as well.